All right, welcome back to Onebar and Lupagus Show. I'm Onebar with Lupagus, and everybody knows the man in the middle, Dave from First and SKOL. Dave, what is happening, man? Good to have you.
Hey, guys. Love being on the Onebar and Lupagus Show. It's absolutely one of my favorite within the Viking sphere. You guys are so entertaining, and we get to talk football, smack, drink a little good beverage from now and again, and have a great time.
Hell yes.
Yeah, what's going on at First and SKOL? Give us a scoop. And Dave, unless you shaft me, he's gonna pop on the tailgate party next Thursday as well. Talk some Vikings draft. But what's going on at First and SKOL these days?
Well, we're sort of over the hump, as everybody knows. News has sort of slowed down just a little bit. We are right now into our normal, not quite normal off-season mode, but we're getting there. We have Tyler Fornes and the Real Forno Show on tonight, or on Monday night and Wednesday nights. Tyler has his own take. As you all know, he is a draftnik himself. It's one of the things he does is he writes for College Draft Network, and he loves it. He lives it. He's been reading books since he was like 6 years old on football. So that's Tyler's show. And then on Sundays, we have myself and Darren Campbell as the two old bloggers, because we've been talking publicly about the Minnesota Vikings. And I mean by talking, blogging, writing. We've done video, etc. for over 2 decades apiece. We're the wise old guys in this whole scenario of Vikings land when just about everybody else is younger than us. But we like to contribute as well, give a little perspective. And then we have Justin Day of Purple and Gold for Days, who's an occasional podcast contributor, and he also pumps things out. Now, once we get past the draft, we're going to our full-time summer mode, and then you'll get the daily opener as well, where we'll talk about anything and everything that's on your mind about the Minnesota Vikings, as it happens almost daily during the summer as we wait for training camp. We'll cover the OTAs, like, hey, they started today, phase 1. And then we'll go into training camp, see the battles, have everything good and wonderful. Hopefully we'll see who our quarterback is by then. I know we will. And we'll get to see them play. And that's what's happening over at Vikings First and SKOL.
God, I want Dave to read me a bedtime story sometime. I could listen to that voice all damn day. And we're bringing Dave on. So you've heard Lupagus and I's draft thoughts, I mean, for months now. We're getting a different perspective. And this week we're bringing on a plethora of Vikings content creators. But what better guy to start with Dave? So Dave, yours. I want to know your nightmare scenario for the Vikings come draft day. Like if it's not getting a quarterback, if it's reaching, whatever it is, what's your like? What are you just gonna be? What's gonna piss you off if it happens?
If we do not get one of the top 4 quarterbacks, that's my nightmare. They've got to make a move on the quarterbacks. Now, am I warming up to Penix a little bit? Big Penix, maybe, but I want KOC to find the quarterback he loves. They talked about it in the presser. It's like a marriage. Find his true love so that the Vikings can move on. We haven't drafted a quarterback in the top 10 in the history of the Minnesota Vikings. And that's been a long time, longer than I am old, not by much, but a little bit. And I'm ready for it because everything else, you know, whether it be trying to either settle or hope for a lower round pick, and maybe you gamble and maybe it hits. It hit with New England. They had Drew Bledsoe. And they gambled, and they picked up some schlub of a quarterback from Michigan. Well, he turns out to be the GOAT. Now, will that happen to Minnesota? Doubtful. Why? Because that's the anomaly. That rarely, if ever, happens, and it's only happened there. So I want us with the best chance to find a quarterback that will take us to the promised land. And by that, I mean the Super Bowl. And the best opportunity for that is drafting them top 10, because that's where you get the highest percentage of those quarterbacks that have made the Super Bowl.
Well, shit, Dave, I think you answered my next question, answering the nightmare question. What is the wet dream scenario? What just makes you have a mess in the front of your pants? Is it a certain quarterback up there or just getting one of those four?
I'd be happy with one of the four. I really like J.J. McCarthy, but I think the best fit for KOC will be Drake May. I'll be happy with either of those two guys. And, hey, if for whatever reason one of them drops and we pick him up at 11, that's the most optimal. But I fully suspect that we're going to have to move up.
So
I'll be shitting my pants if we wait that thing out.
Yeah.
Oh, you and me both, brother.
Broncos, Raiders. Can you imagine if one of them falls to like
The
9,
Giants.
10, whatever, and they trade up
I
and
know.
snipe our ass? My TV will be in the yard.
And you know that can happen.
Hell yeah, it can happen. It's horrifying. It's terrifying.
Just go get him. Just go get him.
Get him. All right. So Kwesi, if he doesn't come out of this draft with a quarterback, like at all, is not only this draft a failure, but is Kwesi? Are you going to label Kwesi as a failure?
Depends on the circumstance.
That was really deep.
If it would take, one of those teams moving up and cutting us off, they trade with Washington or they trade with Arizona and they get in front of us. And the top four are off the board, and he feels that when you get to Penix, Nix, Rattler, all those guys, they aren't the guy. I can understand why at that point you tried. And obviously afterwards you will hear stuff. We'll probably hear stuff that night. Vikings are trying to trade up with Washington. Vikings are trying to trade up with Arizona. Vikings are trying to trade with San Diego, right? We're going to hear all of that in San Diego. By San Diego, I mean the LA Chargers. They are, if they fail on that, because, hey, those teams wanted both firsts, next year's first, the first after that, and the prices were just way too stupid high. I could understand that. And if that's the case, they better go defensive interior, and go from there, build the trenches. My big round bellies, I love them. Build them because they didn't have a chance. And if they can come out and explain, hey, this is what happened. We just had no chance. We're rolling with Sam Darnold. KOC's got to work his magic with Sam. Let's roll. We'll try again next year.
I think you put that in a good frame, good perspective there. Definitely, you got to look at it a certain way. So I agree with you on that. You mentioned the big round bellies, how much you love them. You got one on your eye, maybe day 3, because we're going to probably pick in the top 5, and then not pick. They'll pick 108. You got your eye on someone down the board who gets you excited.
For day 3, I want Devondre Sweat to fall that far.
I know,
probably
me
will.
too.
Yeah, he was here in Austin, came out of the courtroom. He's got a DUI, which is sort of makes you wonder about. But anyways, everybody makes mistakes, especially when they're young and full of vigor. And so if we could get him at 108, I'd be pleased as punch.
Oh, my God.
Develop him into the next Jerry Ball.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
93.
Yes.
Let's go. Jared Bear in the middle. All right. We're going to give you a quick who'd you do.
Who would you do?
Got to get Boss Man in here. Just a quickie. So all I'm doing is from pick 1 to the first round or first pick of the 4th. So you get 2 options here. First, you get Pauline. We stick and pick.
Oof.
We're sticking and picking.
It depends how they feel about Penix.
Well, let me show you that. Let me show you the second option before you just absolutely blow it. There's Toots. We give up our 11 and 23. We get McCarthy and Cam Hart just for shits and giggles.
I would go with the second option.
Who would you do?
Wow, you didn't even hesitate. It's all about McCarthy, right?
Yeah, for me, it's about McCarthy. I think the kid has the it factor. For me, when it comes to quarterbacks, they have to have some skill, yes, but they have to have the, quote, it factor. We haven't had that since, in my opinion, Teddy Bridgewater. And it's a leadership thing. It's the ability to rally the troops to win. Now, people will say, but Dave, where did he demonstrate that? He was at Michigan. He was driving the Cadillac. The rest of the team was winning. He didn't have to do squat. Well, there's still a little bit involved in that. And he made sure that thing ran. He had 2 high school state championships, which I fully endorse. He had his college national championship, which I endorse. He obviously knows how to win. And everybody that talks about him, players, ex-coaches, say he's the guy they'd follow him through hell and back. That's the type of quarterback I want leading our team.
Jeez. Sold. All right, last question. Once again, we got Dave from First and SKOL. Go give those guys a sub. Hit them up. Do it now. Link will be down in the description. Most important question you'll be asked today. Draft day, Thursday. Are you going to ease into it with a couple beers? You're just going to go balls to the wall whiskey? I mean, what are you drinking on draft day and draft weekend? What's your drink of choice, or is it all of the above?
Generally, it's all of the above. No, normally I'm drinking a whiskey, a bourbon, a rye, something like that. I've migrated from my drinking beers for decades. Now I do enjoy a good beer, and I've got a brand new 6-pack I'm dying to try in the fridge. But every once in a while I do tequila, like I am right now. But I'll probably be drinking my whiskey, sipping on a good whiskey throughout the night. And by the end, I'll probably be absolutely schnockered, but that's okay. I'm old enough. I can do that.
Big 32 Dave is going to be wearing a diaper. It's going to be fantastic.
Is that 6-pack like a real high percent IPA kind of a thing, or what?
It was came in at, what was it? I think it was 7%. It wasn't real high. And it is an IPA, by the way.
I knew it.
All right, there you have it, Dave.
Hoppy.
Once again, we appreciate you hopping on, man. This has been fantastic. We'll be seeing you on draft day, if not sooner. Once again, hit up First and SKOL. Dave,
hey,
always good to see you, man.
Always hit up Onebar and Lupagus. Those guys
Dave,
are absolutely fantastic.
Appreciate that. And I want you to remember this. The thong is believed to be one of the earliest forms of human clothing and is also thought to have been worn mostly or exclusively by men.